called this joyous or uplifting and sometimes lighter tone, that people have more than one tone or mood, that the country and the communities she's directing her pitch at might understand that as well. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. We've got more Harris that I'm going to be showing you, where we're going to see both of these things. And in a few minutes, I'll be showing you some of the lighter side, including what many people see as a smash hit broadcast with Oprah. But on the serious side, Harris arguing that her career, her public service, her compassion and care for other people animates the concern for reproductive rights. And this is especially an issue in Georgia, where the state's abortion ban, what Democrats insist is, as a matter of legal consequence, a Trump abortion ban, has in some cases already proven to be deadly.
At least 2 women, and those are only the stories we know, here in the state of Georgia, died because of a Trump abortion ban. And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children? Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America? Where you been?
Where have you been? Powerful and moving rhetoric there, Harris hitting Trump on those abortion bans. And there's new reporting you see here from ProPublica about preventable deaths of 2 women who were pregnant in Georgia. And what the Harris campaign is arguing, and many legal and medical experts are validating, is these are people who, but for Trump's Supreme Court and then these state laws, would be alive. That you can say the death was not literally caused by the politicians, but the situations that led to the death were. Amber Nicole Thurman was denied initially the life-saving medical care that she needed, that experts say could have affected her standing, her life, based on the state abortion laws. And then when she later was treated, it was too late. Candy Miller, who you see here as well, was basically fearful of what it would mean in this political and legal environment to try to go to a hospital to obtain what experts say was other life-saving care. She died at home. Amber Thurman's family is speaking out, and this is actually the first time they're speaking out in public. So again, I told you how the Oprah event had the lighter moments, and it had the excitement, and it had some cultural leaders and famous people, but it also had, and it is fitting, it makes sense if you know anything about Oprah, that she used the platform this way to platform and create time for this admittedly difficult but exceedingly important issue. They were speaking out there for the first time last night.
I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family. And we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed.
I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life.
I'm just so sorry. Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. Amber's story highlights the fact that among everything that is wrong with these bans and what has happened in terms of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's a healthcare crisis.
That was a very stark moment, and one that is difficult to talk about. There are people living their lives who know about these problems but might not want to slow down and take that in and listen and discuss it and think about the actual policy and human consequences. Politics can be frustrating when people feel these moments are somehow used or only used for political gain, not for change. And yet there are few people who can honestly look at that moment, Oprah and Harris and those people involved who I just told you about, and not see that the moment, the politicking about the campaign, doesn't meet the actual moment of the change required. Who can really seriously say that Kamala Harris wouldn't push different women's rights and abortion policies than Donald Trump and a different Supreme Court? For all the debate and the lying that goes on, everybody understands it's night and day on these issues, on women's rights, on choice, and on the Supreme Court. That was just one moment, as I mentioned, in a longer 90-minute broadcast, which was the Harris campaign leaning into the asset of Oprah Winfrey, whose following is much wider than any partisan project. And the wider audience here was designed to go beyond the politics, and even the news junkies and others who might have watched, say, the convention programming recently. I could tell you portions of this aired on 2 of the news channels on cable, including MSNBC, reaching over 3 million viewers there on live TV. Online, over 300,000 people tuned in to catch it on Harris's campaign YouTube channel live. And we checked here tonight, going into the Friday evening, in addition to those 300,000 live, in just really under a day since, 1.5 million total have now watched the same broadcast. I've told you about how technology matters and can change our politics and our civic discourse. If anyone knows how to get seen across all of the mediums available, I'm going to tell you something. It's Oprah Winfrey. Here's how the Times put it. Winfrey did what she does best, orchestrating an interview that connects everyday Americans whose experiences illustrate the strife of a country craving empathy. The discussions were heavy at times, with members of the audience in person at home in tears. That's how the Times put it. And as I told you, there was the serious and the lighter, and it was an important and widely watched moment in this campaign.
We have 400 people in our audience and thousands more. Hello, all of you on screen. Hello, everybody on screen. I am here because I care deeply about the future of our country. And I know that all of you do too. Please welcome Kamala Harris. Wouldn't it be great if we brought all the groups together at one time? And that's why we're here. So we have the Cat Ladies for Kamala here. Rural Americans for Harris. Caregivers for Kamala. Train lovers for Harris Waltz. I didn't know there were train lovers. Train lovers. Chefs for Kamala. Love that group. Republicans for Harris. Love that group even more. Unite for America!
The event had all those constituency groups and others, and then it had some stars that, quite frankly, the Republican convention would have been very excited for even one contemporary A-lister, let alone this many. Bryan Cranston, Julia Roberts, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller, Meryl Streep. I am just listing some of them. And I'm going to remind you, as we've discussed on this program, culture, arts, music, these are things that bring us together, especially across generations. So before I go any deeper into the Harris event, I want to remind you how these powerful cultural and often beloved figures transcend our polarized politics.
Hey, are you the little guy making all that big noise? Huh?
I don't understand why it's so difficult to confirm an appointment.
I know, I'm so sorry, Miranda. I actually did confirm last
Details of
night.
your incompetence do not interest me.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
They stealing our money. The pension. You worked for 35 years. You thought you was gonna leave your kids a will. Now you're gonna leave them a won't.
I'm also just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
Hey, who can't relate to that? All of these stars who have connected with so many people are stepping out of their roles as thespians and into their role as a citizen, if I can be so bold. And these are people that command a following, command attention for all kinds of reasons. Oprah, using her skill set, bringing them all together to give their endorsements and the shine of their stars to Kamala Harris.
I'm just smiling from ear to ear, Oprah. I have never felt this much joy and optimism in a campaign in a long time.
I've always been a fan of Kamala, even back when she was running for. I remember writing her a check when she was like the district attorney for something. Maybe it was to get out of a parking ticket or something. But
I am a mother of 2 kids. This is their first chance to vote in an election, and I couldn't be more excited for them to have the legacy to say that their first vote they ever cast for president was for you. I have just chills saying that out loud.
I would like to say to you two women, thank you for what you represent, because as a 52-year-old childless woman, I want to say to the people who think that a woman's worth is measured in her baby count, I mean, shout out to all the amazing mothers, but the childless women have been mothering the world and elevating culture as aunties, godmothers, teachers, mentors, sisters, and friends, and the list goes on. And you do not need to push out a baby to help push humanity forward.
With Meryl, with the Meryl Streep clap. Who wouldn't like a Meryl Streep clap, honestly? Now, you can say, well, oh, Hollywood liberalism and all the other things we've heard, but the truth is, this is America, and people love the movies, and they love the music, and nowadays a lot of people love and follow the internet stars. And in a competition of campaigns, you're going to have a contrast, and you're going to have competition over who has the bigger stars. And it's not really close if you compare it to the RNC and Hulk Hogan, no disrespect, or Kid Rock, who does have some bops. But any cultural expert would tell you we're not at the same level, and we're not at the same contemporary currency. Nothing wrong with a throwback. I love old music. But these are people at the top of their game right now. I mentioned Meryl Streep, who we all love. Nothing unique about that. 3-time Oscar winner, discussing Trump trying to steal or undermine the election.
You know that there's... What happens when you win and he doesn't accept it? And you know that there's going to be this long slog of shenanigans. And I'm wondering how we get to that moment, how we preserve certification on January 6th. Because if it doesn't happen, it'll be maybe thrown back to the legislatures of the states. And I wonder if we're ready for January 7th, 8th, 9th, and what happens?
Are we ready for January 7th is a serious and fair question. Now, in that setting, discussing these issues, as you saw, with real people affected. I showed you that serious moment earlier with Oprah, and then with some of these cultural leaders, these artists that so many people relate to. Harris took on that question and said they're ready. They have the legal team. She's a lawyer herself, and they're going to deal with anything that happens. And then she covered many other topics over the broadcast.
One of the things that I have realized in the course of our campaign is that more Americans than we may realize who voted for Trump before have decided January 6th was just a bridge too far. I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they get shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that. But my staff will deal with that later. Yeah. So part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now, it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
I said on the debate stage, look, because he's having a very difficult time, obviously, processing the fact that 81 million people fired him. Right? Do not be afraid to vote.